Hello, everyone. Just getting set up. PTB's here. Hello, how is everybody? Welcome. Hi, Kimberly. PTB says hello and goodbye. How are you today, Kimberly? She didn't want to join in. Hey, Kelly, how's it going? How's everybody today? Monday. Welcome in, Lindsay. Hello, kitty. Yeah, you know what's funny about Peaky the cat? She always knows when I'm gonna live stream, and then she comes and she wants to just say hello. Yeah, she's a funny cat. I know, she's so funny. She's 15 already. She's in her 15s. She's a super, what do they call it? Super senior. She's super senior, but she's still feisty as ever. How is everybody? Happy Monday. How are you, Lindsay? Hello, YouTubers. Hello, TikTok. Welcome in for Meditation Monday. Oof. How's everybody out there? Today I wanted to do like a general Q&A, but I also wanted to do some spiritual healing and rituals and talk about what's going on in the world. I know the energy is kind of intense out there. I was out in the world today and I don't know, it's just something funny about where the world is going. I feel like there's so much going on and yet nothing is being said. It's just kind of under the surface right now. Hey, Nicole, welcome in. This is Nicole, Guiding Light, our amazing moderator. So how are you, Nicole? How was your day today? Anybody else notice that it's kind of like, I don't know, the energy is really intense. Hello, Karen. How are you? How's Georgia going? Yeah, let us know who you are and where you're coming from. Happiest of new days, everyone. Hello, Christina. Wow. Oh my God. Hi. Hi, Hidden Survivor. How are you? I like that name. It's growing on you. You're good. You just stayed home. I know Nicole's ready to get out of her house. She's been indoors. She's been an indoor kitty. ATX. ATX. Where's ATX? I'm not hip with all the abbreviations. That is because it's 911. I forgot. Oh, it's 9/11. You're right. Oh my goodness. Yeah, tomorrow's my birthday. I should remember that. I remember 9/11 happened and I was, Austin, Texas. Hello, Austin. I'm good. How are you, Hidden Survivor? Where was everybody on 9/11? Those of you who were born, who were alive during that time, let's give a that makes a lot of sense because today was kind of a strange day. I was a toddler. You were a toddler, Hidden Survivor? Wow. Happy birthday. Oh, thanks, Karen. Oh, happy early. Oh, thank you for all the birthday love. Hi, Christy. Yeah, when I have a strange 9/11 story. Hi, Ace. You were at work in Minnesota. You were in high school. That's one of those moments I think everybody remembers, right? I was watching from my friend's house. Hello, I was in 5th grade classroom. Today is my uncle's birthday. Really, is your uncle's birthday? See, I was in middle school in class when we got the news. Yeah, my parents used to travel down there a lot. Let's see, I was in nursing school. Yeah, I remember I was in college at that time and I was headed, it was really strange. I was headed to my psychology class and the class was death and dying. And I remember it was a beautiful day. I was getting in my car and suddenly I was the radio was on and it was really strange. They were talking about planes and all this weird stuff. And I was like, it took me a long time to get what the heck was going on. And then when I got to school, it was just this like really somber energy. And my professor came in and we watched it on the news and it was just horrifying. And then the whole day was like all you wanted to do was just go home and be with your family. It was just like you didn't want to be out. Like for me, I didn't want to be out. Everybody was just like classes were canceled and we just were just in such a shock. It was just such a shocking, terrifying day. I was at work. The office called me because I was late. They thought something happened. Wow. I worked at the airport. Oh, wow. That would be crazy. That was a crazy day. I bet if you were at the airport, oh my goodness, Christina. Have you seen the documentary, The Woman Who Wasn't There? No, I haven't seen the documentary. I was at my mom's visiting with my kids, remember seeing it on TV and thinking this is going to change the world. Yeah. I think like I remember the moment I realized how 9/11 changed the world was probably a year later. I was going for a job at the college. I was filling out my paperwork, and the woman was freaking out because I, like a dodo, had laminated my social security card, and she made this huge deal about it. She goes, "You don't understand. The world has changed since 9/11," because she was dealing with all this paperwork stuff. And I was like, wow. And she like freaked out on me over this social security thing. I had to go get a new social security card, everything. And it was just crazy, crazy. It's about a woman who claimed to have been there in one of the buildings. Oh no, and lost her husband. That's terrifying. I had a vision 2 weeks before and no one believed me. Wow. Wow. But in reality, she wasn't there and lied to everyone. Oh no, that's terrible. Who would lie about something like that? Oh my goodness. I remember thinking it looked like controlled demo. Yeah, it was crazy. Come to bed eyes. That was something that just was unreal to see those buildings fall and how they fell. And it's kind of like everything else going on in the world, with all the weather and whatnot. It's just who knows what to believe anymore. But we do know people died and it changed the world forever. It changed travel. It changed so many laws got passed after 9/11. So many things that never went back to, I mean, just never. I remember the plane, like riding a plane after that was never the same. Documents were never the same. So many things changed. Welcome in, everybody. She was in a business school in Spain when those attacks happened. Well, what kind of person does that? Many of the survivors had access to ground zero. Yeah, it's crazy. So maybe that's why I'm preparing a candle right now because I felt like we all needed it, but that makes a lot of sense. It's just when I was in Japan, their day is 3/11 when the tsunami hit, and our day is 9/11. I wish I owned some land to grow my own food. The world is crazy. I know. Did you also hear about the compensation thing for people who were in Lower Manhattan? No, I didn't hear about that. It's like when somebody dies, I don't know, those of you who've been through big deaths, no amount of money could compensate. You know what I mean? It's like money can help you in some ways, like rebuild and just survive the grief, but there's nothing that will ever replace the loved one that you lost or the life you had before. I know people who lived in New York City during that time and their stories of even just trying to get home and how the roads were blocked and, everybody was affected in some way, shape, and form in that city. I think I have a friend that was part of the responder people. She hints at it, but won't talk much. I bet. It was for people who I believe suffered from cancer. Oh, wow. Yeah, from all that smoke and smog and ash. Ugh. It was a tough experience in the place. If you tune in, still feel somber. Yeah, you can grow food in pots in small spaces. Yeah, I do that all the time. That's so true. I remember, yeah. Ugh. That makes a lot of sense. I didn't even put it together that today was 9/11. On I'll never forget too, because it was the day before my birthday, right? and it was my 21st birthday, and nobody wanted to go out and do anything because, you know, it was so sad and tragic. And I remember being like, man, this is a terrible birthday. They didn't take it out, but built over it. I know they just built over it. They're making it use materials that were banned. Oh, thank you, Pursuit of Peace. Pursuit of Peace. I feel like right now in the world, it's 9/11, but there's like this silent energy in the world right now. And it's like people are suffering in ways, but they're not expressing it. And we need places and spaces to express our thoughts, our feelings, our grief, and what we're going through. Because I think a lot of people from 2020 and beyond, and really 9/11, you think about it, we don't ever have like proper healing and proper processing and proper ways to express our lives. Because you think about, like, for those of us who survived 9/11 or remember 9/11, there was life before and then there's life after. And it's just like that now with 2020. It's like there's life before and then there's life after, like pre-2020. We're never going to get that back. And yet there's a whole population of people who want to get that time back. It's crazy because we think, like, how do we just keep going forward? How do we process and heal and integrate, but then adjust to the new norm, as they call it, or new reality, which is quite different than what we're used to. What's really nuts is that Grenfell Tower mimics this incident, but on a smaller level. I haven't seen Grenfell Tower. I'll have to look that up. Yeah, it went straight to restricting. Yeah, welcome in. Yeah, that's what I've been thinking a lot about lately, because when I go out and just feel into the energies of people and the places and spaces, you can tell people are struggling and they're not expressing it. It's because there's so much grief and loss and change and transition. And it's like the body and the mind haven't caught up. We're just trying to figure out what our next step is and what we're doing. In our Tonopawali and our teachings, we're right in the middle of a huge transition between worlds, between a really old world and then a new world. And it's just finding where we are and then where we're going in this new world, because you could create anything. You could do anything if you just can imagine it. But you have to get beyond the chaos in the world, the sadness, the change, the transition, the control, the opposition. There's just all this crazy, intense energy right now because we're in between very big worlds. They call it fires or times or cycles, but we're in a huge change right now, and it's going to carry us until the rest of our lives. Grenfell was a low-income housing building in the UK, really? Oh no, there was only one staircase? Oh, that's terrible. This had this illegal cladding that was very prone to fire. Wow. We're being oppressed by the corporations. The limited beliefs. A fire broke out in one of the apartments and it spreads to, that's the problem with apartments. And, you see those buildings collapsing and the things that are happening, like the earthquake in Morocco and all the people who've perished from that. I think people are scared of saying the wrong thing nowadays. You're right, come to bed eyes. Everybody's, I feel like there's an energy of oppression and restriction in the air, and people are just holding it in but they're like ticking time bombs ready to just, and if we don't heal that, if we don't let it out, if we don't have a outlet, how much longer can you hold all that energy in your body? Many people, I believe, higher than the 10th floor did not survive. Jeez. Yeah, that you like that analogy? It feels like that, right? It's almost like there's a pressure in the air, and our old ways of coping are not working. They're not sufficing because, like, say you were a shopping addict, it probably, a little harder to shop nowadays, and it depends on what your coping mechanism was, but it feels like the old ways that people would just stuff it down really don't work anymore. And now we have to find new and healthier ways to get through this and not fall into the gloom and doom. This resonates with you. Yeah. I feel it in the air. Like, you just can look at their face, and it's collective. It's like everywhere I go, I'm like, wow, there's this energy. So like for me, I spent, most of the last 9 years, 10 years, I was in Sedona. And in Sedona, it's spiritual wonderland. It's a small town. Most people there are on vacation, enjoying their life, and they're there for higher growth and wisdom and consciousness and healing. And the land is so incredible and beautiful, and the desert is just like this majesty, But then coming here to the city, it's like, wow, people need those healing spaces. They need them. And then there's no healing spaces. It's really hard to find those places and spaces. And even like for me as a facilitator, it's really hard for me to find a good space to even take people to do healing work. And I've had to work mostly online because in the city, it's like so restricted. And there's not a whole lot of places where people can just breathe. This was horrific. People were told to stay in the building. Lots died. Oh, wow. I have to look into that story. I haven't heard anything about it. I feel like everything is being stripped away. I have to face myself and see if I can move forward. Yeah. The tragedies I grew up with was Hurricane Sandy and Sandy. Oh, wow. The two Sandys, ain't that something? Hurricane Sandy and Sandy Hook. I think, Karen, what you're saying, I feel like everything is being stripped away. It's true. It feels like everything we have known is gone, right? And we're stepping into a whole new world. It's funny because when 2020 hit, I did a ceremony with a friend of mine. We were at her house and we just did our own ceremony. And I told her, I said, what song do you think represents this time we're about to step into? And she told me the end, that song, it's the end of the world as we know it, like that. And then it has this, we looked up the video, and the video is like this totally messed up apartment or some kind of house, and it's just totally destroyed and everything's just all over the floor, and the guy is just dancing all crazy. And then I was like, the song that comes to my head is like Aladdin, It's a Whole New World. And it was funny because it's exactly what it was. It was the end of the world as we know it, and everything's a disaster. And then the next thing, it's a whole new world. We're heading into the whole new world. It's just the first part of it is you got to be in the disaster. But the next part of the song says, and I feel fine. And that's the part we have to remember is that, yes, everything feels like it's changing and it's shifting, and there's a lot of uncertainty with the economy and housing and job security and like everything that you feel like was your foundation is starting to change and shift. But at the same time, a lot of people are going to step into the new world, which is entrepreneurship, business. It's going to be about being your own boss, or, taking your life and simplifying it. A lot of people are going to be moving into smaller places or family living, like traditional style, where you have generations in one home. We're going to have a lot of changes like that because of these pressures that we're all pressured with. And ultimately, it leads to a simpler life and lifestyle. And, getting to the bottom of what it is that you really cherish and are grateful for, and the type of lifestyle you want to live, outside of what society says you should live. Politically speaking, September 11th had policies that created, a nasty divide in people. That's the thing that we have to remember. And that's probably the thing that makes me really sad, is how divided people have become since, really not just 2020, but since 2017. I've seen a huge divide in people. And that's an old war strategy. That's divide and conquer. That's how we get everything taken from us, is when we don't stick together, when we're not in community, when we're fighting about stupid things. There seems to be a lot of fear in people. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's fear. And it's just knowing with your whole heart and your whole mind that no matter what, you're going to make it. That's what I always tell my clients, is like, even if somebody chopped your head off, you're going to make it. You're going to be fine. You're provided for. We have to have that faith. And we have to help each other. We have to stick together. We have to, understand that we're more alike than not. All those fake, false things that divide us are not important, especially in this new time, because that just divides yourself. It divides yourself. And we have to remember that we're coming together in the medicine wheel. No matter what, we're going to have to come together. It is funny, I was outside by my message spot and I knew it would take 5 years to stabilize. Yeah, it could be 5 years, could be 10 years. I don't know. Sorry, I'm gonna fix my lighting here. Moving out of the last industrial area into the technological era. I just trust in the universe and Mother Earth to take care of us. That's exactly what it is. And that's what our teachings and our prophecies say, is like those people who listen to the earth, who listen to their intuition, will make it. They'll be the ones. It's the people who are going to be really focused on the corn. So there's this depiction at the Hopi Reservation of people working, and they're like slaving away, trying to make this corn grow, and all the corn's growing. But then there's another person, the medicine person, who goes deep into the underground. He finds a passage into the underworld, and then he survives the coming of the new age, of the new world, of the old world into the new world. Because, there's so many stories around these times of change and how people survive through these changes. And that's the teaching, is that the people who are focused on the outer world and the outer events and what everybody else is doing and just following the crowd, those are the people that are going to suffer the most, because they're going to be slaving away, just focused on, the outer world. But the people who are focused on the inner world, their inner self, spiritual growth, understanding the cosmos and the universe and working in alignment with the cosmos and universe, those are the people who are going to do the best. Those are the people who are going to actually make it into the next world and be just fine. I've come full circle since COVID, losing my job, getting rehired, and now I'm presented with this job that, oh, good, that fits all my standards and requirements. Not have to walk away. That's really awesome, Danae. How are you, Danae? I haven't seen you in a while. Let's see. That's awesome. See, that's the new world. You get a good job. I think that's really cool too, since the pandemic, is that people really look for places and spaces that fit their needs, their lifestyles, and you know, you want to be somewhere where you're honored. If you're going to be slaving away at the corn, at least honor people and pay them well. It was then we just rode awake and went with the flow. Yeah, we had to go. That's what we have to do, is just go with the flow. The elders say that in this time we have to learn to flow like water. It's the feminine that is coming in through. This time is the feminine wave, and the feminine is about flowing like water. As people try to hold on to control, the only thing we're reminded is that we have no control. Control is an illusion. Communal living seems attractive, yeah. Our ancestors lived together. If you look at any ancient structure, they had all the people in one space and they did just fine. Think about, you have people helping you raise your babies, you have somebody cooking, you have somebody fixing stuff. It's also political to have the duality. Oh, it's so political. Communal living, but also with personal accommodated space. Yeah, exactly. You can live in community, have your own space, as long as people respect boundaries and you have a system in place of these are what we require, and, respectful boundaries, and everybody's in that same harmony. Communal living works fine. The problem with modern day communal living is it often turns into like a cult or a dictatorship, which is not the ancient way. But lots of people live in communities and just do fine, especially you live in small towns and stuff. You're used to communal living. If there's one thing I'm glad happened, it was when I dropped out of my first college. My internet is messing up. Oh, man. Yes, when everyone's in the same harmony, yeah. I was studying to be a physical therapy assistant, but I struggled to meet the standards of the school. The idea of communal living seems like nostalgia for the agricultural era. Yeah. Denise says, it's been rough, but we're hanging in there. Yes, I meditated in water for so many messages. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad to see you, and I hope you and your husband and daughter are good. It's been rough for everybody. I don't think there is anybody here that didn't have something happen. Oh, thanks, Nicole. Nicole is our moderator here, and she's doing a fabulous job. They required all the students to take the placement test. I failed and I was put in 0 credit courses. Yikes. There are a lot of good people on the earth. It's just the bad gets constantly pushed in our faces. Yeah. Oh, you're welcome, Danae. That actually is true. Come to bed, eyes, is that more people than not are good. Really. It's more people than not that are good. It's just that in this time of what they call degeneration, the bad has more power than the good. So it takes a lot of good energy to get something started, versus bad energy. Like you have one bad experience and you go tell everybody on the internet, and then soon your business is gone. You can put a business out of business with one bad review and one person that say maybe they have like 20,000 followers or more, and they go on the internet and say, oh my God, this is terrible, da, 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 and then it just starts sharing and it spreads like a wildfire. But you try to do something good in the world, it's like, it's like pulling teeth. And that's just because of the time we're living in. Yeah, that's the thing, hidden survivor, is that like school is like that. she's talking about the school, like the credits, and she's, they put you through all those hoops and all this stuff to get a degree. And if you take out loans that you're going to be paying forever to hope to get a job in that industry. And now we're in the time where it's like, hopefully that job is not taken by a robot. Oh, I might have to sneeze. Also, people going into industries to do good, but then upholding that's a good point. Pursuit of peace is that you go into these jobs and you want to change the world. You go in and you're like, I'm going to be a nurse, or I'm going to be a this, or I'm going to, and then there's all this bureaucracy. You go to work for, that's why I always like the European system better. It's that you first start with an apprenticeship to see if you even like the job. And then if you like it, you start going to school and doing whatever, but you don't even start with the idea of that I'm going to do this. Well, I'll try it out. Let me see how it goes. I'm a believer in that. And I went through all school. I mean, I went all the way to my master's degree. And when I went to a master's program, my last 10 minutes of my thesis defense, I was like, I think I'll never go to school again. It was so awful. I was like, I think I just will never do this again. Because I was going to go for my PhD. But then after that, I was like, no, I think I'm good. I think I'm good with this. Yeah, apprenticeship. My soul craves nature, especially lately. Yeah, that's a really good point, Kimberly. We all need to get out into nature. It wasn't until I was on YouTube and was suggested a song called Tomorrow Will Be Better. Tomorrow will be better. Oh, thank you, Sweet Pea. You're trying to rewind and catch up. Well, welcome in, Sweet Pea. When we help people, we do it with our heart and they react like we want something in return, but we tell them no, that we just wanted to help. They can't believe it. I tell my husband that maybe they are not used to people being nice. Yeah, I agree with that. And I have an example of that today. I was at the hardware store and I was standing there and the guy was like, oh, go ahead, go in front of me. And I was like, huh? I'm not used to people being nice either. I'm like, what? He's like, oh, go ahead of me. I was like, huh? That's strange. My parents then suggested online school. Gosh. So did you get your school stuff figured out, Hidden Survivor? Or did you just decide not to go? That's what you're kind of talking about. Something I think is really interesting, because when the universe doesn't want us to do something, it puts all these blockages in our way. And then we have to start thinking like, oh, okay, well, if that path is not going to work, what's the next path? And then until you ultimately find your path, right? So it sounds like, you're hitting all these blockages, but there's a path that's going to be carved out from all those blockages. So it's like, nope, dead end. Nope, dead end. Nope, dead end. But what I would suggest you do is get out of your head and drop into your heart and really listen to what your heart is saying. Because once you tap into your heart is 20,000 times stronger than your mind. And your heart will open the door to everything you want. You will have to follow your heart, but your heart will lead the way. The problem is that there's like 10,000 miles between your head and your heart. And you have to traverse those 10,000 miles to get into what it is your heart is saying. Yeah. I saw that a volcano erupted on the big island of Hawaii. I did see that. I saw that too. The Ring of Fire over there is on fire. Literally. They let me take credit courses. Oh, good. Oh, maybe psychology. That's a good idea. I hope that by the time I get a master's degree that it still counts to get a job. Yeah. The one thing I know about, getting a master's degree in whatever it is, that wisdom, that knowledge, that discipline that you learn through your career, your courses and all that, you'll carry for the rest of your life. I mean, there's still things that I remember from my schooling that I'm like, wow, I never learned that anywhere else. It would never be something, and and I can share it with other people. And no matter what, you'll get a job. No, no, no problem. No problem. Even if it's not a job in the career that you just, you initially started with, you'll get a job. Most people get a degree in something and then end up going in something else. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think if you are going to go to school, just find a way, like scholarships or grants or other ways that you can get it paid for versus being in debt for the rest of your life. I think helping others makes you feel good inside, which is in itself your reward. I agree with that, because when you do something good or you do a good job, you do feel a sense of nostalgia and happiness because you did good in the world. And I think that's the thing we have to remember, is you don't have to always be paid for something just to be a good person. Oh, okay. College at the least shows employers the tenacity and discount you finish something. Yeah. Discipline, not discount. Okay. Yeah, discipline. Well, if you see, I don't know how many of you have went to college, but for me, when I went to college, the person I started as and then the person I evolved into are quite different. You know what I mean? The college pushed me in directions I never would have. Like, I was terrified to speak in front of people. Like, public speaking was something I was completely terrified to do. And I remember I had to get up at 7 in the morning or something. I had to go to a 7 a.m. class in communications as part of the degree program. And I was shaken. But by the end of the semester, I was more confident and I liked public speaking. I realized I actually enjoyed it and I liked it once I got over the terrifying shaking of it. I'm starting to notice when the spirit wants me to not do a certain thing, but I'm still learning. I was trying to go back home from visiting a place from childhood. Yeah. When spirit doesn't want you to do something, they will stop you. It's just, are you listening? I was thinking about that today. It's like, you have a destiny. Everybody comes in with a destiny, but whether or not you fulfill your destiny is ultimately up to you, because there's also this thing called free will. So you could decide in this lifetime, okay, my destiny is to become a teacher. But then when the opportunity comes, you're like, no, I don't want to be a teacher. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And you'll go do other stuff. And then the opportunity will come up again, and whether or not you take it. So it's like these opportunities continuously come up, but are you going to step into it? Are you going to do it? Are you going to take the free will and do it? And that's why some people really achieve their destiny and others, it goes unfinished. Oh, yeah, hurricane was, well, that's a big, big way to stop you from your path. A hurricane's coming through. Yes, to pay. I got an associate's degree in fashion design. Still have to pay my loans back. Yeah, I know. I was the only one who had a better understanding of most topics than this other student. Yes, to pay for sure. I know, that's the unfortunate thing. They don't tell you that stuff. They're like, oh, here's a loan. Oh, yeah, here's another loan. When you go to school, loans, it's not like that to get a house. But school loans are like the easiest loan you could ever get. In school, like you just go to the financial aid office. They're like, oh, you need a loan? Pew, 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 pew. They don't tell you anything. They don't tell you anything. It's terrible. It's a racket. They don't tell you anything. And then the next thing you know, you graduate and you get this huge bill. So always pay, like find a way to pay. There's so many scholarships, grants, work. So I had 3 jobs in college. It's like find a way to pay because otherwise you're going to be stuck with these bills. I should have used my school loan to get a house. Oh, yeah, right, an Airbnb. You need Anne Rind for sure, for fun. I liked Anne Rind. It was the book that she wrote, Atlas Shrugged. That was one of my favorites. And she wrote another book. I don't think I finished it though, The Fountain or something like that. Oh, I don't think it's sent. I didn't understand until that happened. So I was being protected. Yeah. That's the thing is spirit will protect you. You have Fountainhead. Yeah. I'll have to go back and read that. My favorite book actually of all time is The Odyssey. Even now, political science to this day is one of my highest scores on my transcript. I had a friend, she got a degree in political science, and then she ended up being like a dean or a teacher, something like that. So sometimes you go to school for one thing, and then you go to school for another thing. You love Gone with the Wind. I have never actually read that book. I love the movie, but I've always wanted to read the book. So our topics have went all over the world today. And that's kind of what I thought it would happen today. I didn't really have a specific topic in mind, but I'm going to start working on some new podcasts and some new ideas for live streams. And I'm going to get back into readings and figure out TikTok and YouTube a little bit better. So, because I want to do readings where people come on and we can talk to you like, face to face or somehow. Or the voice thing. I know there's like requirements and stuff, so I have to look into how that works. But I'm going to be working on some new stuff. And I want to know what you want to talk, what you're interested in. Like I said, for the next year, what I really want to focus on is getting people ready for next year, for the new fire. May of 2024, we officially enter into what the ancients called the new fire. It's a 52-year cycle that will carry most of us to the end of our life. Unless you're a child, you won't see the next new fire. And feeling into what it is that's going to help you become your ultimate success, how to make it through this time of transition and change, how to thrive, not just make it, but thrive, and what is going to be required of you, and what is your destiny, what is your soul path, why are you here? Why did Creator create you to be here at this powerful time in human history? Yeah, I think maybe some collective readings, like that's the fire, the teachings. I think now in this kind of new age, people do like card readings and say, oh, the collective energy is this, but I don't actually believe in that. I don't actually believe that everybody is in the same collective. There's a collective unconscious for sure. And there is a collective conscious. But if you go and you talk to 100 people, there's 100 different stories. There's 100 different ideas. There's 100 different backgrounds. And so to get to like a commonality, it's a very watered down version of what a real reading would be, because a real reading will give you real advice, and you can always book a real reading and get a real reading so that you get on your path. But I want to give little mini stuff so you can see exactly how that works, because unfortunately, because of social media and the way it's evolved and what it looks like now, People don't even know what a real reading is. And it's really sad. They think it's a bunch of card flipping and foo-foo messages. A real reading is not like that. A real reading is truth. It's really like getting down to the nitty-gritty of who you are, why you're here, what you work with, what's the healing involved, who your ancestors are, who the good ones are, who the bad ones are, what you need to clear out of your closets, what is stopping you on your path, and how to get beyond the rut that you're stuck in. You know, that's what real healing is. It's really about who are you? Yeah, it's a seer. I'm a shaman, I'm a seer. And it's seeing beyond the fluff that you're not looking at. You know, you're not looking because you don't want to look there. That's the thing. That's why people go to readings, you know, and you have to be kind of like in that right mind that you're ready to hear the truth, because we don't know what's going to come out. You know, there's things that you don't even want to look at. And that's where people always are like, sometimes, oh, you know, I don't want to know the truth, or I want to hear the foo-foo stuff. And most people will go for the foo-foo stuff, even if it's completely wrong. Completely wrong. It'll be 100,000% wrong. And they'll still be like, well, maybe. No, there's no maybe. It's wrong. Like I had a friend and she went and got some foo-foo reading, and I was like, well, yeah, what'd they tell you? And she said, oh, they told me I'm going to move to the East Coast and all this stuff. And I was like, that's never going to happen. There's no, if you knew her life, you would know that's 100% wrong. There's no way she'll move to the East Coast. It would take like a grand miracle for that to happen. Of course, she never moved. I'm already 57 years old, so I don't think I will see the next one. Yeah, you won't see the next one come to bed, eyes. We won't. I won't see the next one either. I'm too old. They would, the way they put, let's see what she said. The way they push tarot on this app is scary. I know it's scary. Anybody can pick up a tarot deck and say there's something. I didn't know if shaman to you was also seer, but yeah, not always. Every shaman has different gifts and talents. Some, I would say the base of shamanism is most people can see. Yeah, but not all. Not all. Some specialize in ceremonies, some specialize in clearings, but our specialty is spirits and seeing, you know, seeing the spirit world and what they tell us, because spirit sees all, knows all. But every shaman works with something different. You know, they work with different types of spirits. But the way we're trained is we have to learn how to work with the lowest level spirits so we can clear them to the highest enlightened, you know, ascended spirits, as you call it, because all spirits have something to teach us. And there's no end to the spiritual realms. Like junk food, so bad, but they give because it tastes good. Yeah, it's like junk food. Spiritual fluff is like junk food. There's a good analogy, Danae. I could use a real reading. Yeah, come get a real reading. Nicole can tell you. I can't really tell you because I'm me. You have to hear it from somebody else. But Nicole's my student. She's gonna step into apprenticeship soon to be a medicine woman, and she could tell you. She could tell you all about it. The good, the bad, the right, the wrong. Are you going to be having any ceremonies again? I hope, Danae. I'm going to start working on my retreats. I'm going to have retreats in Sedona. We're going to have one in October around the Halloween doorway. But I want to find a space. And if I find a space in Colorado that's really nice and clear, then I will start doing ceremony again here in Colorado. But I'm looking for the right space. I have a reading. Yes, you did have a reading. Let's see. When I was a kid, I used to really like tarot. Now as an adult, I leave it to the universe. Yeah. I've been doing the Hungry Ghost every day. Oh, you have, Kelly? How's it been going? The deck I have belonged to my mother. She soon gave it to me, and this deck is long out of print. Oh, that's nice. That's the best way to get a deck, is when it's handed down like that. Oh, thanks, Nicole. Are you going to? Oh. Yeah, the thing is that tarot comes, the real reason tarot exists is because when Atlantis fell, the information had to go somewhere, but it couldn't be revealed in the public eye. So what happened is that the scribes of the time, they put them into like what we call hieroglyphs or symbols. And a lot of the tarot is those symbols and those hieroglyphs, and it's speaking to your subconscious mind that remembers that ancient information. So what tarot is actually supposed to be, it's not a prediction tool, it's not a reading thing, it's actually not any of that stuff. What it is actually supposed to do is trigger your ancient memories. That's what tarot is. It's from Thoth, from ancient Atlantis. And what it's supposed to do, and the way you're supposed to use it as, is as a tool to awaken your higher self, your ancient wisdom, your ancient memories, the time when you lived in the last world that we called Atlantis. Because most of you, I would gather all of you, have those ancient memories inside of you. That's why you're attracted. That's why you're here. That's why you're like looking for it, is you remember the last shift that we went through. And that last shift we went through, that was like this shift, was Atlantis. This is, I thought it was all rubbish, but years on, everything was spot on. She just held my hand and told me. Oh, wait, I think I missed something. Oh. Oh yeah, I look forward to that. Come to bed eyes. Readings always happen in divine time. The money comes, everything comes. It's like a miracle thing that happens. That is so true. The more you see it, the more it strengthens your intuition. Yeah, exactly. When you are just reading, you are reading current energies. Yeah. I'm talking, tarot. Yeah. Yeah. And tarot, that's what it does, is it awakens ancient memories. It awakens those symbols and things that are hidden. I don't know if anybody's ever had that experience working with tarot. If they're working with it when they're really learning it and really understanding it and taking the time, that when you do it, you start having more dreams. Your intuition starts speaking. You start, moving into like a different realm. Synchronicities, signs, things are starting to happen and activate. And you know what I mean? I always saw tarot go through a more reflex psych level and just incorporate character archetypes. Yeah. But those archetypes have ancient meaning, and it's more subconscious than anything. One of the things I learned through tarot was self-interpretation. Yeah, I would tell people things they never told anyone. And most people who actually read tarot and do readings, if they're doing proper readings, then it's through their intuition. Tarot is just a tool. And some people even say like, oh, tarot is not for the reader, it's for the person so that they can look at something. And be like, oh yeah, because I haven't had a lot of tarot readings in my life, but my first reading that I ever had with the seer, she was using cards. And later, when I knew about tarot and I listened to that reading and I saw what cards she was pulling, the cards she was pulling had nothing to do with the message she was saying. Like what she was saying and the card were totally different. So I knew it was her intuition. It wasn't her. It wasn't the card. She was just flipping cards. One of the things I learned I would tell people, okay, the tarot readers talk about signs and confirmation a lot. Yeah. That's how spirit speaks. It's through signs and synchronicity. A girl blamed me for her relationship falling apart. That's another thing. If you do readings, people will blame you for stuff. It also brings subconscious to conscious to recognize and reflect. That is why tarot is a tool. Yeah, it's a tool. That's when I stopped reading people. Yeah. You stopped reading people because of that. Well, it depends, so some readers read, the base level stuff, like your relationship. Yeah, that was a loud ring. Sorry, my phone went off. They relieve your relationship, your problems, your this, your that, somebody's jealous of you, whatever. But a shamanic reading, the type of readings I do, is deeper than that. Because the reason you have problems in your life is not because of the relationship you're in. Sometimes it is, but more than likely it's a pattern. It's something that you either were born with or something that is ancestral or is something that you're stuck in. Like, we have to get to the bottom of what exactly is going on and what is the spiritual components around it. What are the mental components around it? What are the physical component? All of them, because you're not just one being. You have a mental body, a spiritual body, a physical body, an astral body. You have all these bodies, and what is sick? What is going on? So shamanic healing is about finding your sickness, clearing your sickness, healing your sickness, and then helping you get on the best road possible for you to thrive, especially during this new time we're headed in, because so many people are in times of transition and change. Let's see. But, tarot is really good for relationship problems or that kind of stuff. If there was one spiritual gift I love, it would have to be visualization. Yeah. Tarot on this app are speed reads. It is free for all, and people want it free for all. That's a good one. I know we've talked about that before, Nicole, is the difference between an ability and a gift. Ability is something you can learn. A gift is something you're born with. And so when you have a gift, you have to develop your aptitude. You have to develop it so that it becomes, like to a professional level. Otherwise it's an amateur, because you can have a gift, but if you never practice it and you never, do anything with it, it's like you can be born with the gift of music, but if you never practice music, learn music, you're not going to be very good at it, right? You can maybe hear things and play it or something, but most people have to work their gift. When you have an ability, like tarot could be an ability very easily because you can learn it. You just learn the cards, right? But when you have a gift, it can be both your blessing and your curse. Because when you have a gift, it's the thing that will keep drawing you. No matter what, like you have a bad reading, but you'll keep going. I have a lot of people who would tell me, oh, I could do what you do. Yeah, I could do readings. And then they'll start doing readings and they find out they don't like it. They can't do it. It's not right. They'll get that one bad client and then it'll be over, right? But when you have a gift, it doesn't matter how many bad clients you have. You may take a break, but you'll have to keep going because it's the thing that is inside of your heart that you have to share no matter what. And that's the hard part about a gift. Yeah. I don't think I could ever do a reading. Yeah, because it's not your gift, right? It's different. It's different. It's a different thing. It's just that you cannot force a gift. You either got it or you don't. but you can learn certain abilities. You can learn certain things. You can learn, you know, math. You can, you know what I mean? You can learn English. You may not be good at it, but you can learn it. But a gift is something that you have to share with the world. And when you don't share it with the world, you suffer. So, for example, if you have music in your bones and you're not sharing your music, you will suffer. And you'll see that with musicians that aren't sharing their gifts. They go into deep depressions or, anxiety, panic attacks, addictions, whatever, because it's the gift that's calling you and it's saying you have to share this. I heard Roseanne Barr talk about it. And it's just like, wow, she really got it. Because she said that her gift is comedy. And no matter how bad it gets, because, she was thrown off TV and all that stuff. She said it's the thing that no matter what, it's in her bones. She has to share it. And I was like, yeah, that is how a gift works. It's the thing that when you're not doing it, your life is not good. I tried doing a reading twice on Friends, and the result didn't make sense. Yeah, you described my daughter. My interest in Wicca was created when my life was empty and ungrounded. Almost like a compulsion. Yeah, it's a compulsion. It's something you have to share. That's interesting. You said that Wicca was created when my life was empty and ungrounded. That's when usually people find their spirituality. And especially like something like Wicca, because Wicca is really popular right now, like witchcraft and stuff, because it brings you back into like, I can do something, I can, manifest, I can, do something physical to do this, right? And I think that's why it's really popular right now, because it's an action-oriented spiritual practice. It's going to be like way more popular in the years to come, because people in the next generation are spiritual, not religious. Like religion is kind of not going up. Almost, I was 12 and a year earlier I was stalked by a shadow man. Oh no. That's the thing too. That's why if you're going to get into anything, you have to get into spiritual protection and cleansing. Those are the base of any spiritual practice. I don't care what it is. You have to have a spiritual cleansing and spiritual protection. If you don't have those two things, it's going to be hard. Is it art a gift or skill? Art is a gift and a skill, because in order to be a really good artist, you have to practice. But it's something you're born with, It's like something, hey, Rachel, it's something that you just are naturally compelled to do, and probably from childhood. It's something that from childhood that calls you, and maybe you got made fun of, maybe people, said things to you, maybe you got criticized, That's why I said it's the gift is usually both a blessing and a curse, because it's the thing that you just can't help. You can't help it. Even no matter how hard the path gets, you have to do it. You have to do it. It fed off my misery and enjoyed watching you break down. Yeah. That's the thing, is sometimes you open spiritual doorways that shouldn't be open. Yeah. Oh, and you learned how to cleanse yourself is when you left. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear you got out of that. The thing is like, one of the most powerful things someone told me in a sweat lodge was the purpose of your life is to know your gift and then give it away and share it. That's the thing, is the purpose of your life is to know what you're good at and what your creator created you to do, and share it with other people. You can make a living at it, you can do whatever, but it means like share it. Don't hide it. Because when you hide your gift, is you suffer. That's the only person suffering is you. I feel that with art, but I haven't been creative in forever. Yeah, that's the sad thing, is like, we are not taught to share our gift or own our gift or do anything with our gift. We're taught to be like accountants. You're an artist. No, you got to go to accounting school. You got to be a doctor. You got to be a lawyer. You got to be something that pays the bills, because art clearly can't, which is biggest lie ever, because you see so many successful artists out there, and there's certain paths they say, oh, that's the suffering path. Oh, you'll never be successful. I learned how to create worlds, and one of my specialty was creating blessings. That's awesome. Yes. That's the thing. There comes a point in time, though, you have to share your gift. You have to go back to your gift. Otherwise, you will never be happy. Teaching preschool is my favorite ways to teach art. Oh. And that's the thing. You have a gift like art, and there's a million and one ways you could share it. You could share it, by creating art and then taking it to fairs or shows or whatever. You could teach art. You could just have art around your house. And when people come to your house, they're like, wow, look at that beautiful painting or whatever. It doesn't matter. One time I did a reading for a guy and I told him, I said, I don't know why, but I see all these bird houses around you. Like you're supposed to make bird houses. And he told me, oh my God, that's so creepy, because that's all I've been doing the last year in my garage is making bird houses. He was unemployed. And he said, I didn't know what to do with myself. And I just started making these bird houses and I've been loving it. But my wife is yelling at me to get a job, But I was like, well, I don't know. Right now, you're meant to like make these birdhouses and then sell them, like go out and share them, and people will have these birdhouses in their house, and it'll uplift everything, and they'll be happy, and it'll give them happiness and joy, and it'll bring you money. And so he started selling them and people loved them. He started painting them, putting little roofs on them, and then he actually sent me one. And yeah, it was really sweet, because unfortunately he did pass away. And it was really weird because I was looking at the birdhouse. It was in my house, and I was like, gosh, I feel like I have to put this birdhouse outside. Like something weird has happened. And then I reached out to his wife and I said, is everything okay? Because I have this weird feeling. And she told me he had died. And I was like, wow, that's interesting that now the birdhouse wanted to go outside to be in this, it was really strange. But I remember it was kind of like that birdhouse was a connection point to his energy too. And so I put it on my favorite tree and it's been sitting there. So many gifts, never know which gift is my gift. I have to gift. My favorite hobby is Tai Chi because of how adaptable it is. I had a dream that I was in a teepee and an elder told me to take care of the light. Who said that? Faith? That's a powerful dream. I had a dream similar to that. Okay, so like there's layers and levels to dreams. Okay. And when you have a dream where somebody comes and teaches you, especially about something like a teepee, it means that dream, you're reaching into the higher realms of consciousness, of spirituality. It means that they were really trying to reach you to give you a specific teaching that you have to implement into this realm. So it's like, write that down, like write everything about that dream, what happens after that dream. Those are really rare and powerful dreams. And that's the spirit world coming in to teach. And those are like the most powerful dreams. There's several layers of dreams. There's like clearing dreams, prophecy dreams, like nonsense dreams. There's just all chaos dreams. It just depends on what your subconscious and unconscious is speaking. But when you start having dreams like that, where elders come and they're teaching you, there's something really powerful about that. And they call those the teaching dreams, and they're the most powerful dreams. And we have to write them down because they don't happen often. Those types of dreams don't happen often, and they're powerful when they do. I had a dream similar to that where an elder came and taught me about the teepee and how they would point the poles and to manifest different things, like how to have a daughter versus a son, like weird stuff like that. And so it was a really powerful dream. Different gifts are like different paths. There doesn't have to be just one. No, you don't have just one one gift. You have multiple gifts, but there's one theme. That's what you have to figure out in your life. It's not what the actual gift is, because this is where the mind will come in. Your mind will say, well, my gift is to be a psychic. Okay? That's actually not the gift. The gift is something totally different than that, because everybody's psychic. That's not the gift. The gift is the bridge, is the mediator. You're a mediator. So like for me, I figured out a long time ago that it doesn't matter what work I do, my gift is bridging, putting one to another, like connection. That's the gift. I could do anything. I could go work at corporate America. And there's so many jobs that have that, right? But I'm a connector between the human world and the spirit world. That's ultimately what it is. But it's a connection. It's a bridge. So your gift is not what you think it is. I had a dream about future plans for the moon, but a falcon eagle flew into the room and tapped my head. That's interesting. Yeah, it's like, that's a prophecy dream. That's telling you something that's going to happen in the future. And, falcon is usually related to knowledge, but the eagle is going beyond challenges. So we'd have to figure out what exactly that bird was. I had a dream where an ancestor was teaching me to leave my body and move around the forest. See, that's a teaching dream. Oh my, figuring out the theme might be hard. It's much easier than you think. That's what, we can discover in a reading. My dream was 7 years ago, and tomorrow I start in a teepee teaching kids. And oh my goodness, isn't that crazy? You had that dream 7 years ago, and now you're going to be teaching kids in a teepee. That's awesome. I love that. I saw a white, huge dragon. So it's kind of like your dream was not only a teaching dream, but it was also a prophecy. Like that's why they were showing you that, because that's what you're supposed to be doing. So now you're right on track. I dreamt of a white owl and white hawk in same dream next to each other. White owl and white hawk. That's pretty awesome. The white is symbolic of the times we're living in and the change that the earth is going to go through. And then the owl, depending on what thank you so much for the heart. The owl, traditionally represents wisdom, but also to use your wisdom in the correct ways. Be cautious of who and where you share your wisdom with. And then the hawk is a messenger. The hawk is the messenger bird. And, are you a writer? Do you write? Because also messenger could be a writer. I love that. A TV dream. I saw a white, huge dragon. Wow. What was the interesting white? White also means pure. White is also connected to the spirit world and the ancestors. And crazy. White and silver. Do you work with your ancestors, or did you recently, during the time when you had that, did anybody die? If you're not on the mailing list, thank you. Yeah, sign up for the mailing list. It comes out every new moon, full moon, and I announce different things. What about the dragon? Dragon has a lot of meaning. Dragon is about power, protection. That's why I was trying to figure out what the white means. I tried to learn connection, and my family are dying. I feel like for you, crazy, that dragon is about bringing something back into your lineage. I have to focus more on it, but something about you being the one who's supposed to work with the ancestors and have the power back. So you have like Celtic or Welsh background. Oh, hi, April. You're a hypnotherapist. Do you do writings too, April? Oh, you changed your name. I can't pronounce it, sorry. So the thing is that in our modern world, black is the color for death, but that's actually wrong. White is the color of death. That's true, because white is reflective and black is absorptive, like it absorbs energy, and white reflects energy. So if you go to a funeral, the actual color you should wear is white, because you don't want to absorb all that death energy. I believe so. I have many roadblocks to finding out my ancestry. Oh, okay. I'm getting that, like, you have some Celtic and some Welsh background, and if you'll find it, but you're meant to work with that medicine. White and black spirit came for color theory. And in Asian cultures, in India, and which India is the womb of all Asian culture, and like my culture, Korean culture, because for those of you who don't know, I'm Korean and Native American, and in our culture, traditionally white. So like when you see like a dream and you have like an ancestor and they're dressed in white, or maybe you don't even know who it is, you're just like, who's that man? And if they're dressed in white, that's an ancestor. Oh, you're welcome. In my dream, I talk to a white wolf and a brown bear, but it's always the two of them and they speak to me. Wow, ain't that something? Well, the wolf is the pathfinder and the brown bear is the, there's so many teachings on the bear, but that's also protection. Bear is about knowing the ability to go within and come out, and it's the direction of west. So kind of that sunset time of our lives. Marlene, are you like middle age? How, like, you don't have to tell me your age, but like, are you around 50? Not to pry too deeply, but is your family from the North or South? I study East and Southeast Asian. My family is from the South, from Seoul, Korea, but originally my grandfather was from Kaesong, which is just right, like here's the border, and it's like right there. So right at the border of the DMZ. So unfortunately, what happened to him is like he crossed to the south, and then the wall came up, and he was never able to come back. And so he never got to see his family again. So, but you have to think about it. Like now we say, are you North or South? But it's the same people. There's no division between people. It's a division between politics. And so inside of every Korean person's heart is unification. That's what every Korean wants. It's just like political. It's just, and it's really sad over time because so many people never got to see their relatives after the war. And, there's such a radical difference between those two political systems and how people live. With Bear, you were a little obsessed with Bear last week. Our dream is unification. Yeah, it is. I think, oh, you're four. I see. So you're 46. Okay, Marlene. So I'm going to tell you your dream with the brown bear and the white wolf and all that is telling you that around 52 is when you're going to receive your spiritual power. So write it down. Around 50, 52 is when you're really going to start seeing spiritual stuff happen in your life. If it already isn't happening, but you're going to go through a shift from the white wolf to the brown bear. It's like things that were previously blocked start opening. It'll start opening, the brown bear. And you might become more creative. Like there's a lot of things that will change and shift from now, and your dream is preparing you now for that time. Let's see. Is there a way to work with ancestors when I can't find out anything about them? Oh yeah, of course. So that's why if you go onto my videos, you'll see that I talk about the Hungry Ghost Festival and ancestor offerings. The first thing you want to do is do some offerings. And you either do an altar or you go out into nature and do a spirit feast, and you ask the spirit world to open the door for you to connect to your ancestors. And you keep building that connection. It might take a while, depending, because now we're talking about people who have very dry lineages. Like some people I talk to, it's not just a generation or two ago, it's like hundreds or thousands of years that haven't been fed. And that's what we call dry lineage. And that means that when you have dry lineage, it's going to take longer for you to make that connection. But once that connection is made, then doors start opening, things start being confirmed. Like the spiritual will always be confirmed through the material. That's the thing people have to remember, is a spiritual is not foo-foo stuff. Spiritual will say, okay, this is what it is. And then later, it might be years later, but there will be a confirmation of the information. There will be a definite 100% confirmation, because that's how the spirit world works in the due time. I turned 50 this year, and I saw my first real brown bear this year too. Ain't that something? Everybody's having brown bears. That's what the brown bear stands for. Because brown bear is about that time in your life that's like the sunset. It's like mid 40s to 50s, like not quite, and then when you retire, that would be called more like, the evening time of your life, like, because now things are winding down, you're older, you're stepping into your elder years. But the brown bear is about that time in your life when you're like, I want to say mid 40s to 65, say something like that. Where you're still productive, but you kind of built some things, your children are grown, like you're further along in your life. You're not a child, you're not a teenager, you're not a young adult, you're middle-aged. Things are slowing down, like brown bear going into your cave. Yeah, that's you. Oh, your material world is in ruins. Yeah, that's why you got to do the spirit feasting. The spirit feasting will help you. Spiritual connection to your ancestors will help you. Clearing out the hungry ghosts will help you. Learning how to do, altar work. Develop a spiritual practice, a good spiritual practice. I put the hungry ghost altar where I saw the bear. Oh, good, Kelly, that's awesome. I usually would pray right away and say, you may not touch my energy, but wondering if it's a guide. You gotta ask. I don't want anybody touching my energy. But ask, that's great. Who are you? Don't touch me. Benevolent spirits don't bother you. That's what you have to remember. Benevolent spirits don't trick you, don't bother you, are very soft and speak through signs and synchronicity. They don't butt in to your free will and free choice unless you're about to get hit in the head or something. And they'll say, run, but ultimately, really good spirits and the spirits that you want to connect to do not invade your space. They're not the ones bothering you. It's the tricksters, it's the hungry ghosts, it's the other ones. You know what, crazy? You don't have to leave out anything that you're not going to eat. You don't have to, in Asia, we make an altar and it's food that we eat because it's blessed. So once you put it out for 10 minutes to an hour, you eat that food. So whether it's a can of beans, a few pieces of pistachios, a little cup of water. It doesn't have to be elaborate or big. I know people think it has to be like this big feast. No. Most native people too can barely feed themselves. And we leave out a can of corn, we leave out whatever scraps we have, It's not about how much or how elaborate it is. It's about just doing the practice. I would get heavy head and feel like ear ringing and dimming eyesight. You would get a heavy head. That's not a good sign, though. You're welcome, Marlene. If you're feeling a heavy head and ear ringing and dimming eyesight from a spirit, it's probably not a good one. Is there there's snakes down there? Yeah, they will say that to Nicole. There's snakes down there and try to deter her from going somewhere. I love how you explain to keep it simple like that. Yeah, it's very simple. Oh, yeah. No, you can consume. It's okay. It's okay. You can leave stuff outside for like nature spirits. You don't want to consume that. But you can also, make a nice little altar, put some water, whatever, just a little water, a little whatever. The ancestors know you because you're their blood. And they know your situation. That's the thing. Well, it's different, like here in the West, some deities and things they don't let you consume. But in the East, when we do our ancestor ceremonies, we consume it because we believe that we are now, consuming that food for our ancestors and that we offer it to them first because they're blessing it. They're giving it to we're giving it to them to remove our greed, our selfishness, and to honor them and to acknowledge their presence and all the gifts they have given to us in our life and the sacredness of their life. It's an honoring. And so when we put it out for 10 minutes to an hour, then it means, that now that food has been blessed. And then when we consume it, we're consuming it in honor of our ancestors. So that's the difference in the beliefs. I did put the salt around my rooms after I cleaned when I saw to do that too. Did you? How'd you feel afterwards, Kelly? My ancestors were in a cult. Yeah, that's why you want to do the hungry ghost stuff. Make sure that their energy and their spiritual debris, as we call it, or residue, is not affecting you and if you have kids. You see, that's the whole reason we do ancestor altars and honorings. I don't like to use the word worship because we're not worshiping our ancestors. We're honoring them. And why we're honoring them is because we're also part of it is we're asking for them to be healed and to be blessed and to help us, the good ones, if they can, to help us in the future generations because we're feeding our line. And then we're also clearing the spiritual debris and patterns of suffering from the previous generations. And that's why in the East, it's very important that you do ancestor honorings. It's like in Korea, it was the responsibility of the first eldest son. Now, unfortunately, because it's modernized and westernized, people aren't doing it anymore. And we're seeing all kinds of things break down in society because people aren't honoring their ancient cultural beliefs and doing the ancestor feasting. Where you see people doing ancestor feasts and it's thriving and the whole culture's doing it, you see less crime, less addictions, less suffering. And it's not about money, because if it was about money, our country would be the most spiritual country on earth, right? Because we're supposedly the wealthiest, but we are definitely in a spiritual crisis here in America. The house felt clean, so good, but it felt a little extra good with the salt. Oh, good. I love hearing that. I just knew to offer to my ancestors and try to connect with the good one. This helps a lot. That's good, Crazy. I'm glad you joined us today. I want everybody to do this. I don't care what your religion is, what your background is, anything. Just try it and see. Because I've seen miracles work. When you start honoring where you come from, who you come from, what you come from, and you start clearing the generational traumas and suffering, your life is going to improve just automatically. You're going to have more gratitude. You're going to have less problems. You're going to be more grateful for who you are, where you come from. You're going to heal the scars. It's powerful work. It's powerful. I was nervous doing altars without salt too. Yeah, you can. I have a salt lamp. That's what I use on my altar. I have a few altars. This is actually not my altar, but I have an altar, and I put salt lamps in around the room because that helps clear it. I have more problems than I ever have, but know myself more than ever. Ain't that something? That sometimes happens when you go through a spiritual awakening, is that you'll have way more problems. It's like life is good when you're asleep, right? And when you start waking up and you start doing healing work and you start doing all this stuff, you have more problems, but you understand your strength and courage and wisdom and fortitude, and you discover all these other things you didn't know you had because of the problems. And then once you get enough traction and ground and, you're in the new, then, no matter what the problem is that comes in the future, you can handle it because of what you went through. You did notice you felt extra gratitude. Oh, good, Kelly. I never did salt and it has always been fine. Yeah, it's okay. You don't have to do salt. Not everybody does salt. Some people don't like salt. You do what works for you. Okay. Some people hate sage. Other people love sage. Some people sweetgrass. You have to find what you resonate with. Some people love the tuning forks. Other people like singing bowls, chimes. There's 1,000,001 ways to clear energies. Maybe I should have put salt when my aunt came. Yeah, when somebody's coming to your house, do the salt around the house. Hi, good evening. Hello, Crispy Ham. How are you? I have done that bitter, what is it? Bitter, salt, sweet, and all that. Yeah, I have sage on my list. You learned gratitude from Laura Ling. I will be honest, totally wanted to give up lately. I'm waiting to rise, but I just keep falling. I think there's a reason you came into our life today, Crazy, because you're not gonna fall. Okay. Don't give in to those voices and to those feelings, okay? Because inside of you is a warrior. And now it's just time to remember you're a warrior. And no matter what, you're going to make it. And you're not just going to make it, you're going to thrive. Oh, Lisa Ling was doing a documentary on the people who left the North. Yeah. It's powerful. I went to North Korea, not North Korea, like in North Korea. I went to the DMZ, and there's a part in the building you can stand, and you're standing in North Korea. And that's a place that is very surreal. You want to talk about scary? That's a place that's very scary. Thank you for being here for everything. You're welcome, Crazy. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, like Nicole says, on the other side of this for you is victory. It's victory. Yeah, one of the most guarded places on earth. Yeah, it's crazy. And the tunnels that they have over there, it's crazy what's going on at that border. Just regular salt. Do I do a circle around the house with the salt? Yeah, I'll show it to you. Can you guys see that? As I spill my salt. This is coarse ground salt. Okay. Coarse ground salt. You can take regular sea salt. Sea salt is best, but if you don't have sea salt, don't stress about it. Go to the dollar store, go wherever you can. Just get some salt, and very lightly around your doors, around your property, not like tons and tons of salt, especially if you have plants, but just lightly around your property with the intention that you're going to clear the energy around your home and keep it protected. Just very lightly go around the whole property and make sure you get your doors and windows. Okay. Yeah. See, you're in a very loving and supportive space. And I bet everybody watching has been where you are in some way, shape, and form. Maybe not to the extreme, maybe more, maybe less. Suffering is suffering, but you're going to make it. That's the thing that we have to remember. And do your ancestor practices, pray, meditate, keep yourself in a calm space. Don't react as much as possible. I know it's really hard. You're welcome, Marlene. Now more than ever, we have to learn how to just go with the flow and think, think with our head and think with our heart, and try not to be reactive. That's one of the hardest things. It's one of my favorite songs, especially when I think about the people who were kind to me. Yeah, that's the thing, is when you're going through a really hard time and people are kind to you or help, you'll never forget that. All right, everybody. Well, I have to get going. But it was a pleasure and an honor to spend this time with you today on this sacred day, and to share some of our stories and talk today. Oh, thank you, Crispy Ham. Yes, lots of love to everybody. Oh, thank you. You're welcome, everybody. And I'll see you next Monday. And I have a new schedule for you all. Thank you so much to our amazing moderator, Nicole Guiding Light. Please go to her page and give her some love. Until we meet again, many blessings. Bye, YouTube. Thank you so much.